Welcome to Looplearnings, and if you're a regular visitor of my channel, welcome back, and if you're new to my channel, welcome to Looplearnings. Consider subscribing, hitting the bell icon so you get a notification whenever I upload any video. So that is that is done. Now let's talk about the how to make POS system. This is video number 17, and we have done a lot of work. If you haven't watched the first 16 part of this series, I would encourage you to do so, and the links for those 16 parts will be in the description below for your ease. Let's talk about what we are going to do today. So this is the continuation of previous video number 16, where we did the coding for the save button, and we did a little bit of work around this particular area. Now today we are going to continue, and we are going to do VBA coding for these buttons as well. So I hope that in this video I will complete all of these. So without wasting time, let's go ahead and do that. So for the PO is initiated. Now after the PO is initiated, once the signing authority, whoever it is, once they are happy with this purchase, you will create the PO, right? That's the step, that's the process. So to create PO, we have to do a little bit of coding, and we have to look for certain certain parameters to be filled in. So first of all, the well, this form should not be empty. If that's the case, then it should give an error. Hey, you should choose a record first, then only you can create something, right? If the inventory status is PO created, GRN, current stock and paid, partially paid, fully paid, partially received, fully received, whatsoever, and in that case give an error, say hey, this cannot be done because you have already moved on to the next steps. The create PO will only be done if the inventory status is PO initiated. If that is the status, then only the system will allow to proceed. Otherwise, give an error, and that is it. Okay, but when this system will allow to create PO, then what needs to be happen is the status should be changed from PO initiated to PO created. That should be the status. Secondly, the the payment due on date should be updated automatically. Now how will that happen? In previous video, if you remember, I've taken this screenshot. So if you will say, if you look here, credit days, right, at column number 5, credit days. So when we are creating a supplier, well, of course, when we are dealing with the supplier, we are making a commitment, and so we have the agreement. Supplier says, hey, you can purchase product from me, and whenever you receive the product from the date of receiving, within next 15 days or 10 days or 40 days, you can give me that money. So just to keep our relationship strong and happy, we want to capture the payment due on date, so our finance department can follow up for those payments and can give those payments out to all the suppliers and vendors to keep our relationship healthy with the vendors and suppliers. Okay, so that's why payment due on date is very, very, very important. Okay, so that's what needs to be happen. So this should be auto populated. If the credit days are 0, then it will be same day when you receive it, you give money, and that is it, case closed. But in some cases, for some companies, for some grocery stores, it's the credit limit and credit days, and that's why this information is important. Okay, now, so you know what we need to do for the create PO button. Let's go ahead and do the coding. So we'll click on the create PO button, and we'll go to the property sheet, event tab, ... code builder, and here we are in the code builder. So first thing, you know what we need to do is the error handling. So on error, resume next. Okay, so we'll say if is null, me dot purchase ID dot value is equal to true, then to cmd dot beep message box. So what message box? This please select a purchase record to proceed further. Okay, comma will be critical and information. Next one, as I explained, if the inventory status is grn, PO created, grn, partially grn, fully grn, partially grn or grn, current stock, partially paid, fully paid, if that is the status, then also we don't want to do anything, right? We want to throw an error. So we'll copy this, if you don't mind me doing it. But if you're practicing it, please write it with your hand. I'm sorry for this noise. Okay, so else if this PO created grn, okay, and we'll copy this, we'll put another or partial grn. Okay, partial grn, current stock, fully paid or partially paid. In any of these situations, we will throw an error saying this action cannot be performed. That is it. Next, once everything is done, everything is checked, then we will move on and we will change the inventory status. We'll change the inventory status state, and we will auto populate the payment due on date. So let's go ahead and do that. Else, okay, me dot let's handle this first. Payment due on dot value is equal to me dot product ID dot column. So in which column it is sitting? It is located in column number 5, and that is credit days. Okay, and plus now. So let me explain this. So let's say today is 4th of September, right? And today we have received these goods. Whatever we have ordered, today we have received it. Today is 4th of September. Let's say we have a commitment with the vendor that from the date of received till 10 days, within 10 days, we are going to give you the money back. So that's our commitment, that's our agreement. So the payment due date on will be 4 plus 10, right? 4 plus 10 is 14. So payment due on date will be 14. So that we want automatically be populated here in this field, and that's why we did this VBA coding. So what it will do, it will look for column number 5, right? Column number 5. So let's say there is 10 in column number 5 for that product, and we will do the addition of today. So from today till those number of days, you count, calculate, whatever you want to call it, and then auto populate that information in payment due on date. I hope you have understood what I'm trying to say. Okay, all right, so let's move on and let's change the inventory status dot value is equal to PO created. Okay, and me dot status date dot value is equal to now. And what else? Well, that is it. So the PO will be created, and we will save that information in the message box. The purchase order has been created successfully. VB critical, oops, VB information, and information. That is it. We'll close that code block, debug it, save it, close it. So that's the PO is created now. Now that means we have ordered this particular product. The product will the order will go to the supplier or vendor, and vendor will make arrangement, will ship it, and once the vendor will ship it, we will receive those that material, those goods. And once we receive those goods, something needs to be happened. So we will look for the purchase record for that particular product, and we will go for received goods buttons. And in this button, again, we need to perform some action. So what action we need to perform? Well, first of all, we need to check for some logics. The first logic is, of course, there has to be a record in order to proceed further. After this, we will check for if the inventory status is GRN, if the inventory status is current stock, if the inventory status is partially paid, fully paid, then nothing can be done. Okay, if it is partially GRN, then it can be done, right? If it is PO created, then this action can be performed. But with GRN, current stock, partially paid, fully paid, this action should not be performed. These are the logics we need to build. So once we will build those logics, and then we will come in and we will check for these logics as well. So we want to see the reference document number, which means when the supplier or vendor will send you a material, they will send you an invoice, right? That invoice number should be filled in this particular field. Then quantity. So what quantity we ordered and what quantity we are receiving, that also we need to enter here. So then also there are some conditions. For example, if we ordered 10 pieces but we are receiving 8 pieces, which is less than what we have ordered, then we need to give some message information to the user that the received quantity is less than the ordered quantity. Do you still want to proceed? If the user will say yeah, go ahead, and then the inventory status should be partially partial GRN. If the inventory if the received quantity is same to the ordered quantity, then it should be GRN straightforward. There should not be any question asked. So these are the logics we want to build for this particular button. So again, very important step in managing your inventory. So let's go ahead and do that. So we'll click on receive goods. We'll go to the event tab, on click event, ... code builder. Just to save time, I'm going to copy this, okay? Because this is the same code I'm going to write. We are going to check if there is any record being displayed on this form first, then only this action will perform. And just to save time, I'm going to copy this as well. I will mention it again. If you are learning, please write it, type it with your hand. So I will remove this because, and this, okay, because we are looking for if the status is partial GRN, if the status is current stock. Well, if the status is GRN, not partial GRN, if the status is GRN, if the status is current stock, if the status is fully paid, partially paid, then you throw a message saying this action cannot be performed. Okay, I hope you have understood the logic why we have to build in this functionality. It's important to manage our systems very well. Okay, all right. If these both are false, then what next? Well, then we will check for reference document number. So we'll say else if is null me dot reference document number dot value is equal to true, then to cmd.beep message box, please provide the reference document number in order to proceed further. Okay, comma VB critical information me dot reference doc dot set focus. Similarly, we will ask for the received quantity. Okay, if is null, me dot received quantity RECQTY. If is null, me dot receive quantity is true, then please provide the received quantity RECEIVD. I don't know if I'm always confused with these spellings, received. So if I'm mistaking, please apologize. Receive quantity of the product in order to proceed further. So that goes in set focus. If both are false, if everything is false, then proceed further. Simple as that. Else, now we have to look for condition here. Those conditions are if the received quantity is less than the ordered quantity, then throw an error, not error, the message, confirmation message, and user will have to choose yes or no. Okay, so we'll say dim response as integer. Okay, and we will put condition here, and that condition will be if me dot receive quantity, if me dot receive quantity dot value is less than me dot quantity dot value, then okay, response is equal to message box the received, I don't know, I'm typing received correct or not. Again, I apologize if the incorrect spellings. If the received quantity of the product is less than what you have ordered, do you wish to proceed further? Okay, you are asking, you are getting the confirmation, and that's very important. VB yes no plus VB question information. If response is equal to VB yes, then what? If proceed further, then well, simply you say me dot received on dot value is equal to now me dot inventory status dot value is equal to partial grn me dot status date dot value is equal to now, and that is it. And the through a message box, do cmd dot save to cmd dot beep message box. So message box would be the goods are received and are marked, and the status is marked partial GRN. Okay, because we have partially received it, so that's why it's partial GRN. This can happen, so it's very important to else if user will click on no, then what next? Well, do nothing. Okay, and if else. Now this else is because of this code block. Okay, if else. So if the quantity is less, so in this we will say if that condition is false, then just go on and we'll take this information, we'll take this and we'll copy in here. Okay, simply if the quantity received is equal to quantity order, then there should not be any question asked, just proceed with the next process. And that in that case the status would be GRN, fully received, and the goods are received and the status is marked GRN. Okay, and we'll close this if block and we will close this main if block. Hope we will not receive any error. Yeah, it's working. One thing we forgot is the error handling. Okay, I hope you have understood what I did, and it's very important to build these logics, otherwise your user will definitely 110% will do a lot of mistakes. That means your user and your customers will get a data which is not useful, and they are going to blame the company who has built this particular software. So make sure that you build in all those logics, whatever comes in your mind. I'm sure there are a lot more logics that can be built for these particular scenarios, but for now we will keep it the way it is. Now the goods are received and we want to make them available for sale, and that's when we'll go with the current stock. Okay, so let's go ahead and build the logic. So what we are checking? Well, we are checking first of all if there is no record, give an error. If the status is PO initiated, or if the status is PO created, if the status is PO created, if the status is paid, fully paid, partially paid, through an error, right? It should only work for partial GRN or GRN. In these two conditions, this current stock button should be activated. Okay, so let's go ahead and click on that and error handling. Okay, so I will copy this, apologies, because that's what exactly I'm going to type again. So let's save the time, my time, your time, absolutely. If the PO created, it should not work. Okay, so I'm going to remove that. If it is GRN, if it is partial GRN, if it is current stock, well, what I'm doing, if it is GRN, partial GRN, in those two cases only it should work, so we are going to remove those. And if it is PO initiated, still it should not work. Okay, so let's write this logic as well. Or if it is current stock, if it is fully paid, partially paid, through an error, say hey, it cannot be worked. Now simple as that, we don't need to check any other thing. We will just straightforward go and change the status of the inventory to current stock, so this product is available to be to be sold to the customers. So we'll just go ahead and do that. Me dot inventory status dot value is equal to current stock. Me dot status state dot value is equal to now, and to cmd dot save, to cmd dot beep message box, the selected product is available to be sold to the customers. Congratulations. Okay. Alrighty. This is very, very, very important for those who really want to learn actually. So this is important stuff. Now the next button is pay button. Of course, when we have received, we have to pay to the customers, to the vendors, sorry, we have to pay to the vendors, suppliers. And in that case, what conditions, what logics? Well, logics we're going to build. First of all, if it is blank, nothing should be done. If the status is receive goods, partial GRN, PO created, PO initiated, throw an error. You can't pay without making sure it is received and available to be sold, and that's the condition we want to build in first. And then we want to check if the payment mode is selected, if the paid amount is filled in, and then only we will go ahead and proceed. So let's go ahead and build that. So dot code builder. So I'm going to copy again. Okay. Right, because I'm going to write this exact same thing. So instead of writing, just to save time, hopefully you will understand. If you are confused, just let me know. Okay, I will try to explain it. So if it is GRN, if it is partial GRN, okay, if it is partial GRN or current stock, oops, no, or fully paid, or PO initiated, or PO created, or if it is fully paid, then partial paid, we don't want to build that, because if it is partial paid, we have to pay the full amount. Okay, then throw the error. Otherwise, check for payment mode whether this is filled in. So we'll say else if me dot payment mode dot value is equal to else if is null, me dot payment mode dot value is equal to true, then to cmd dot beep message box, please choose the payment mode from the drop down list. So VB critical and information. So me dot payment mode dot set focus. Now let's go ahead and check for paid amount. This should not be empty as well. Me dot paid amount should be paid. Yeah, paid. Please provide the payment payment details to proceed further. One more scenario that can happen, and believe it or not, that also we need to build. So if the paid amount is greater than total price, then also it should give an error, right? Makes sense, right? We are purchasing for 1000, and if somebody is trying to give 1100, why? It should give an error. Well, mistake can happen. Somebody may type 1100 and they might give over 1100 because they have just typed in. So this mistake can happen. Human, right? Human error. So this should also not be. This should also be restricted to tell the user. So we'll say, and see, these are the things you need to think about. Else if me dot paid dot value is greater than me dot total price dot value, then okay, then what? Then throw an error. Then tell the user, hey my friend, the paid amount value is greater than the total price value, and hence this action cannot be performed. Okay, so we be critical and information, right? Me dot paid dot set focus. Now that's how you work, right? That's these are the logics important. Now what if the payment is less than the total price? So if, let's say, we supposed to pay 1000 but we are paying 600, what about that? What about that scenario? What about that condition? Well, in that case we will just give a message box to the user saying the paid amount value is less than the total price value. Are you sure to proceed further? And if user will say yes, we'll say okay, go ahead, and then the inventory status will be partially paid. Okay, if it is fully paid, then it will be fully paid. Simple as that. So that logic we will build in here. So else, and dim response, what I'm doing, response as integer. Okay, so we'll say if me dot paid dot value is less than me dot total price dot value. Okay, if it is less than, then what should be done? Well, then you throw a message box saying response is equal to message box, and you say the paid amount value is less than the total price value. Are you sure to proceed further? Question mark, comma, VB yes no plus VB question, comma, information. If response is equal to VB yes, then if the user will click on the yes in the message box, then what should happen? Well, simply the inventory status should be partially paid, status date should be now, paid on should be now, payment status should be partially paid as well. Okay, then me dot inventory status dot value. Well, that is inventory status, so I think we should not touch the inventory status. We should touch only, that's why I have given separate status for this particular situation. Me dot payment status dot value is equal to partially paid me dot paid on dot value is equal to now. Okay, and that's how it is done. Simple as that. So do cmd dot save, do cmd dot beep. Well, we have to give, because we are giving the logics of okay, payment status. I was just confused with that. Anyway, this happens when you are doing this kind of work. So the partial payment has been made to the supplier of the selected product, comma, VB information and information. Else, if the user will click on no, then simply do nothing and then close the code block. Else, now this else is for this. Okay, so this code block. So if the paid value is equal to total price, then you go ahead and no question asked, everything is done. That's how it should be. So we'll simply copy this like we did for the GRN button, and we'll say fully paid. That's the status. Paid on now, and the save beep, the full payment has been made to the supplier of this product, and we will close that if block. We will close the main if block as well. Debug it, save it. Wow, look at that, look at that, the work that we have done. All right, cool. Okay, so we are done with the coding of this particular form. See, it's working. It's some minor testing. We'll do the main testing in the coming tutorials. This has been a great sharing, I believe. I hope some of you who take interest in this kind of videos will learn something. I hope you will learn something, and you will let me know in the comments below as well if you like this video or not. Thank you very much for watching till the end. If you are still here, appreciate it. If you have not subscribed yet, please go ahead and subscribe, hit the bell icon. This is how you can support me, and this can motivate me to make more such kind of videos more in the future. Thank you very much for watching, and I will see you in the next one.